Welcome to Mercedes-Benz World in Weybridge in Surrey in the United Kingdom. This is Mercedes' largest retail site in Europe and probably the world, and was opened in 2006. And it's actually built within the confines of the Brooklands motor racing circuit, which opened in 1907 and held its last race in 1939. First stop, ground floor. Let's start by taking a look at some classic Mercedes cars. Well, you couldn't get more classic than this. This is the first Mercedes, a Benz patent motor car Model 1 dating back to 1886. This is where it all started. And from the oldest Mercedes-Benz to the latest, the EQS, the electrified S-Class. Replacing the more traditional three-box saloon that's seen in this large sedan segment is a more of a coupe style. It's actually a very pretty car, and this flowing coupe style, to me at least, is reminiscent of the previous generation Jaguar XJ. It's got some really nice styling features. At the front, the need to have cooling from the grille has been dispensed with, and you've got a single black panel covering the front of the vehicle now. Another styling feature from the rear of the car is the light band that runs right the way across the rear of the car. It certainly means you won't mistake this for anything else at night. And also you can see the 3D helix lamps both at the front and rear of the car. The EQS is fitted with a number of wheel sizes, right from 19-inch to 22. I'm not quite sure what size this is, but this carbon effect centres are really distinctive. In an era of cameras, it's actually quite reassuring to find some normal looking side mirrors. Looking inside, it's difficult to appreciate how really advanced this car is. The very clean fascia actually hides the MBUX augmented reality head-up display, its interior assistant, and the Mercedes Me remote and charging services. And in fact, I've put a cutaway here so you can see it in a bit better detail. Stepping back in time takes us to the C126 SEC. S for S-Class, E for Einspritzen, the German for fuel injection, and C for coupe. Designed by Bruno Sacco, he's gone on record as saying the SEC is actually his favourite design, and in fact one of these still resides in his garage today. Back in 1990, £63,000 would have bought you this 560 version, offering 300 brake horsepower, 0 to 60 in 7.2 seconds and 149 miles an hour top speed. It's an absolutely beautiful pillarless coupe, and still a pretty attractive design even today. Here's the first of two S-Class Mercedes on display. The S standing for Sonder, meaning special. They couldn't be much more special than this 450 SEL 6.9 dating from 1979. It's got 288 brake horsepower, hydromatic self-leveling suspension, and in actual fact at the time was twice the price of a 350 SE. You'd have to really want one of these, and in fact 7,380 people did. Its claim to fame is one of them was owned by the world motor racing champion James Hunt, but in actual fact his vehicle ended up being parked on bricks later on when he was broke to save the road fund tax in the UK. As always, we can see the trademark Mercedes-Benz rear lights of this period, the design designed specifically to ensure they stayed clear and visible in poor weather. Introduced in 1963 is this Mercedes-Benz 600 or W100. No self-respecting dictator or business leader of the 60s 70s and even the early 80s would be seen in anything else. The 600 Grosser Mercedes or Grand Mercedes was the flagship model, and competitors were few and far between, probably Rolls-Royce, maybe Cadillac in the US. This is an absolutely superb example, and the vehicle's fitted with absolutely lashings of chrome. It's got some really nice details. Look at these air vents on the rear pillar, for example. The rear-mounted fuel flap is the perfect location to add your 111 litres required to fill this tank up. Although the short wheelbase model, in actual fact, it's still over 5.5 metres. Back down the range slightly takes us to another W116 S-Class 4th generation again. This one's a little bit cheaper. It's a 350 SE and it's an early car from 1973. That hard-wearing interior and huge Mercedes-Benz steering wheel have certainly stood the test of time well, and this vehicle looks immaculate. Preceding the mono wiper blade that Mercedes made so famous in later years is this unusual arrangement where the wipers slightly overlap, certainly at the park position. Certainly there's no shortage of chrome on this vehicle. It's lovely to see the metal hubcaps colour coded to the vehicle in place of the alloy wheels. Probably one of the most beautiful Mercedes of the 1960s is this W113 280 SL, so-called Pagoda because of its roof shape. This SL or Sport Light is an absolutely stunning vehicle, and certainly its style is well appreciated even today, where classic car prices are in excess of £100,000. A number of famous owners could really appreciate its style. Juan Manuel Fangio, former Formula 1 champion, Charlton Heston, David Coulthard, Formula 1 driver, Tony Curtis, Jack Lennon, and even John Travolta have owned these vehicles. Way before Tesla and even DeLorean, the Gullwing had already been perfected by Mercedes in this W198 300 SL Gullwing. The wheels are the historic Rudge design with its unmistakable two-fin spinner that can trace the design right back to the 1860s. Close up, these side vents are no less impressive. Looking at those famous Gullwing doors, you can see the beautifully detailed door handle and release button, and of course in the rear some superb fitted Mercedes luggage. Next is this so-called Mercedes-Benz Ponton, a series of sedans launched by Daimler-Benz in 1953, and the name being derived from the German word for pontoon. Unusual rhubarb and custard paint scheme certainly gets the attention, as does some of the details like these indicators. This beautiful 220 SE version is fitted with the largest engine available at the time, the 2.2 litre, and looks as beautiful today as when it rolled off the production line. Including some nice features like these number plate lamps built into the overriders. This W121 Mercedes-Benz 190 SL is the immediate predecessor to the famous Pagoda SL. Produced from 1955 to 1963, almost 26,000 of these vehicles were built, all bearing the 1897cc engine, which output a modest 105 brake horsepower. The cream on cream colour scheme of this car really shows off the lines rather well, and you can certainly see the styling influences of its larger brother, the 300 SL. If you want to buy that last minute gift or take away a memento of your visit, there's always the Mercedes-Benz shop. Alternatively, a range of driving experiences can be booked on the day. Possibly time for a pit stop? Well, here's the Recharge Cafe, where you can get coffees and a range of snacks. For younger budding motorists, there's the option of driving an eco-friendly electric car. They can experience this on a small indoor track, and at the end of it all, they do actually get their own driving licence. Adults, of course, are not left out. So there's a range of driving experiences I mentioned earlier. This is the lounge, and it really shows the scale of the site that Mercedes built back in 2006. Just look at the size of the track that they have. Going outside, we can see and hear indeed vehicles being readied for their test drives. If you want to spend your time looking through the side windows rather than the front windscreen, this could well be the activity for you. Back inside the building, let's go up to the first floor and see what's on offer. From the escalator you can see the scale of the building and also the range of other vehicles to look at and experiences to have. Well, for starters, there's actually an absolutely superb view of the track. So on the first floor we get the chance to see the electric cars, the Formula 1 cars and some of the current Mercedes range. Let's look first of all at the EQ models, Mercedes electric mobility brand. Pretty much up until now, Mercedes pure electric models have been based on internal combustion engine derivatives. The first one shown here is the EQC. This is based on the GLC platform and has the larger 80 kilowatt battery, delivering 408 brake horsepower and 255 miles range. Next is the smaller EQA based on the GLA platform. The EQA 250 has got a 140 kilowatt motor with a 66.5 kilowatt battery, giving 190 brake horsepower and 263 miles of range. If you want to see some Formula 1 cars, you've come to the right place on this floor. First of all, we're confronted by a completely disassembled championship winning Mercedes-Benz Formula 1 car. It's an absolutely amazing display of the number of components that go into producing one of these. In line with the EQ strategy, it's only fitting the next car up is from the Formula E series. As you'd expect, there's a number of Mercedes Formula 1 cars representing the championship wins, but along with this we've got McLaren, Williams and Force India. Looking behind the Formula 1 Force India car on the wall, we can see a gallery of all the famous drivers who've been associated with the Mercedes-Benz brand over the years. And finally we'll finish on a shot of the Williams Martini liveried Formula 1 car. Racing scale Formula 1 cars is also possible here. As you'd expect, the full range of Mercedes-Benz passenger cars are available on site to view, and in actual fact some used cars are also for sale there as well. It's a functioning dealership, so you can buy cars on your visit if you wish. Last stop on this floor is the S-Class suite. And also a chance to remind ourselves about the heroes and heroines who drove on the Brooklands circuit over the years. Now let's take the elevator up to the second floor to see what's on offer up there. On this floor we can experience the full AMG range, the cinema, the simulator zone and the bistro if we're still feeling peckish. AMG was originally an independent engineering company specialising in Mercedes-Benz. Daimler took over an interest in 1999 and then full ownership in 2005. It's staggering to believe that the first car we see, the Mercedes-Benz AMG A-Class A45S, has an absolutely stonking 421 brake horsepower engine and even a drift mode. It's fitted with various aerodynamic enhancements, a prominent splitter and a quad exhaust system. £57,885 will get you into this Patagonia red four-wheel drive monster. Offering you 0 to 62 in 3.9 seconds and probably a few more points on your licence. Got a little bit more budget, why not look at the Mercedes-Benz AMG G63 with 435 brake horsepower, 0 to 62 in 4.5 seconds, reaching a scarcely believable 155 miles per hour. Visually unchanged since its launch in 1979, it's a world away from the original version launched for the Army. Mercedes are pretty keen to demonstrate that now AMG have got a performance derivative across the full model range, covering almost every budget. And one such niche fill-in example is the AMG GLC Coupe, sporting the revised front grille that comes with the AMG models and some additional colour coding. If you thought you'd seen power outputs at the highest levels already, take a look at this. The AMG GT63S, whose 4-litre V8 twin-turbo engine delivers a scarcely believable 630 brake horsepower and, where permissible, and there can't be many places, 196 miles per hour. If you're keen to get behind the wheel yourselves and don't really want to stray outside, there's always the simulator zone. The in-house cinema on the second floor also gives you the opportunity to find out in comfort much more about the history of Mercedes-Benz.
For Mercedes, when the British hero Sterling Moss and his navigator Dennis Jenkinson drove to a dramatic victory in 1945 with a 300 SLR covering 1,000 miles on public roads at an amazing average speed of almost 100 miles per hour.
So there you have it, that's Mercedes-Benz World at Brooklands near Weybridge in Surrey. It's free to visit the site, although the driving experiences are chargeable. There is a cafe, a bistro, plenty to see and plenty to do for all the family, and I'd encourage you to take a look. Thanks for joining me at Lot 76 Cars on this walk around Mercedes-Benz World at Brooklands. Please share, subscribe, and most of all, if you could like it, it'd really help the YouTube algorithms. Thanks again for joining me. See you on the next one.